November 1873, a successful Chicago lawyer stood on the deck of a ship, staring out at the Atlantic Ocean. Somewhere beneath those dark waters lay the bodies of his 4 daughters, Anna, Margaret, Elizabeth, and Tanetta. The telegram from his wife had been brief. "Saved alone. What shall I do?" What Horatio Spafford did next would give the church one of its most powerful hymns of faith in the face of unimaginable sorrow. Horatio Gates Spafford seemed to have everything. A prominent attorney in Chicago, he was known for his legal brilliance and his deep Christian faith. He and his wife Anna had 4 beautiful daughters and a young son named Horatio Jr. The Spaffords were active in ministry, close friends with evangelist D.L. Moody. Their home was a hub of Christian fellowship and service to the poor. But in 1870, tragedy struck for the first time. Their son, Horatio Jr., died of scarlet fever at just 4 years old. Then, in 1871, the Great Chicago Fire devastated the city. Spafford had invested heavily in real estate near Lake Michigan. Almost everything he owned went up in flames. By 1873, the Spaffords desperately needed rest. Anna's health was failing under the weight of grief. They planned a European trip, a time to recover, and to help their friend D.L. Moody with his evangelistic campaigns in England. In November, Anna and their 4 daughters, ages 2, 5, 7, and 9, boarded the French steamship Ville du Havre. Horatio planned to join them after settling some urgent business matters. On November 22nd, in the middle of the Atlantic, their ship collided with an iron sailing vessel. The Ville du Havre sank in just 12 minutes. Anna Spafford clung to her daughters as the ship went down. She watched, helpless, as one by one they were torn from her grasp by the freezing water. All 4 daughters drowned. Anna was rescued, unconscious, clinging to a piece of debris. When the survivors reached Wales 9 days later, she sent the telegram that would shatter her husband's world. Saved alone. Horatio immediately booked passage to join his grief-stricken wife. As his ship crossed the Atlantic, the captain called him to the bridge. "Mr. Spafford," he said, "we are now passing over the spot where the Ville du Havre went down." Horatio Spafford stood on the deck, looking out over the waters that had claimed his daughters. 4 little girls who would never come home. 4 empty chairs at the table. 4 futures erased in 12 minutes. And there, in the midst of crushing sorrow, something happened. Spafford returned to his cabin and wrote words that expressed a peace beyond human understanding, a declaration that whatever his circumstances, his soul was anchored in Christ. He wrote of peace like a river attending his way, even as sorrows rolled like sea billows. He acknowledged the devastation, yet proclaimed that his deepest self, his soul, remained well because of who held him. These weren't empty words. This wasn't denial or repression. Spafford didn't write, "I feel fine," or "everything happens for a reason." He acknowledged his circumstances, the reality of his lot in life. He named the sorrows that kept rolling over him like ocean waves. But then he declared that his soul, the deepest part of him, was anchored not in what he could see, but in who he knew. Later verses of his hymn reveal his theology. He spoke of his sin being nailed to the cross, the only foundation steady enough to stand on. He wrote of Christ's return and the day when faith would become sight. the longing of every grieving parent to see their children again. This wasn't optimism, it was theology tested in the furnace of suffering and found to be true. When Horatio reached Anna in Europe, they wept together. But they also worshipped together. In 1876, their hymn was set to music by Philip Bliss. It has since been translated into dozens of languages and sung by millions. The Spaffords had 3 more children, but grief never fully left them. In 1881, they moved to Jerusalem, establishing a community dedicated to serving others, the American Colony. Horatio Spafford died there in 1888 at age 60. His final words, according to his daughter Bertha, were about the hymn he had written 15 years earlier. What a privilege, even in suffering, to be saved in Jesus. It Is Well With My Soul is not a song of denial. It's a song of faith that persists when everything else is stripped away. It doesn't promise we won't suffer. It promises that even when sorrow rolls like sea billows, there is an anchor that holds. Not because circumstances are well, not because we feel well, but because Christ is well, alive, sovereign, and sufficient. And one day, as Spafford wrote, our faith will be sight. Every tear wiped away, every grief swallowed up, every separation ended. Until then, whatever our lot, we can say with trembling voices but steady souls, it is well.